This video is going to be an interesting circumstance because the game I'm talking about, I literally beat it last night for the very first time, and that is, drum roll please. I don't know if you're doing a drum roll or not. That's up to the viewer. That's up to the audience. I can't really hear if you're doing one or not, but we were talking about, if I can get it out, Pokemon Emerald. Now, this game came out in 2005, but it is essentially a slightly upgraded version of a game that came out in 2003, Pokemon Ruby and Pokemon Sapphire. My copy of Pokemon Sapphire is invisible, so you can't see it. But Pokemon Ruby, this came out in 2003, third generation of Pokemon on the Game Boy Advance. Now, it's definitely a huge upgrade from the past Pokemon games. I don't want to discredit, what Gens 1 and 2 brought to the table, but I think Gen 3 was a huge upgrade in that I think it aged, and again, I'm sorry to say this, but in terms of the core gameplay, I think Gen 3 aged a little bit better because, well, we've got abilities. And yeah, no, I just like the way the game looks. Moves pretty fast. The music's real nice, Again, Gens 1 and 2, I'm not here to discredit Red and Blue, Gold, Silver, Crystal, Yellow. I'm not discrediting what those games brought to the table. But Gen 3 really felt like the next gen. Like, it was a big jump. Like, Gold and Silver to Ruby and Sapphire, huge jump. Now, usually when they make a Pokemon game, they make a third version. And that's what Emerald was. But, yeah, it came out, this was 03, Emerald's 05. I think this game did a lot of really cool stuff because, fun fact about Ruby and Sapphire, in early development, they actually fully planned to make these games completely and utterly standalone. And what I mean by that is that they were originally going to have none of the old Pokemon appear in the actual playthrough, kind of like what they eventually did with Black and White. That was the plan with these games, but somewhere down the line they decided to sprinkle in some old stuff. My theory is that that's why the only cross-gen Pokemon branches they have in Gen 3 are Wynot and Azurill, which are the pre-evolutions to Wobbuffet and Marill, respectively. What I think they did is that, in Generation 2, they added a lot of new different evolutions to Pokemon from past gens, sort of adding onto them. And there's a huge lack thereof in Gen 3. Not necessarily a bad thing, but my theory is that late in development, they realized that they should put some old faces in there, so they scrambled for a little fanfare, and they're like, oh man, how are we going to do this? And they sporadically made Wynot and Azurill. That's my theory. But, anyways, I know we're not talking about Ruby. We're talking about Emerald. But I think Emerald brings a lot to the table. They add a few things. They add like the battle tower or the battle frontier. And all the Pokemon have animations when they're sent out to battle. One thing I never understood was in Crystal, the Pokemon all got their own animation when they were sent out to battle. The opposing Pokemon would have a little animation. You'd send them out. And then the next game to come after Crystal, Ruby and Sapphire, they took that out. I don't really understand why. But then in Emerald, they brought it back. Interesting. It's almost like they purposely didn't do it so they can market that for the third version. But no, I'm not gonna lie. I think I paid a little too much for my copy of Emerald. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, man. In terms of the game, the playthrough, not a crazy story or anything. It's just, spoiler alert, if you're concerned with what's going on in the story. Really, all that happens is more or less, you move to a new town, start your Pokemon adventure. There's not a lot of reasons why you do it. You just kind of do it, And again, do you play Pokemon games for the story? I would say the average person, I'm going to say no. Most people probably don't. Now, I do have a friend who's told me personally, and then I actually enjoy Pokemon games for the story. So, maybe he's watching this video. But in all respects to that friend, that's fair. That's completely fair. There's some cool stuff that could happen in the Pokemon games. In Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald, I'm gonna say Emerald's story. Relatively interesting. You've got two teams, Team Magma and Aqua, who one of them wants to like rule the sea or something, and the other one wants to like rule the ground. Again, wasn't paying attention to the story, so I'm just gonna wing it. I'm blanking. Yeah, one of them wants to like rule the sea, the other one wants to rule the ground, and then they clash because like, oh, ground is better. Oh, no, water's better, and then they kind of duke it out for a while. And it's kind of funny, honestly. They and then in their goal to strengthen the ground and the water and fight each other or something, Team Aqua awakens, or they awaken the legendary beast, the legendary Pokemon. Oh, there's something in my eye. Oh no. Ooh. They awaken Groudon from the ground and Kyogre from the sea, respectively, and they appear. And they basically have some sort of mindless, egotistical grudge match where they kind of just butt heads for a while. And then you, the player, you guys are like, oh, damn, how do we stop this? This is going to like destroy the region. So you talk to someone in the city, and then they go, listen, dude, you got to like summon Rayquaza. And you're thinking, well, who the hell's Rayquaza? You don't really know yet. Well, you basically travel to Spear Pillar, which is it's a tower. You climb up Spear Pillar and you see this big beastly dragon. His name's Rayquaza, and you go up to him. He just kind of looks at you funny, and then he just kind of disappears. Well, basically, for Kyogre and Groudon to stop butting heads, you need to get Rayquaza to intervene and break up the fight. It's sort of like two kids on the it's like two kids in like the 5th grade playground fighting, and you got to get the teacher to break it up. That's how I can describe Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza's little clash. So you do get Rayquaza. Some pretty cool animation they add in. Rayquaza shoots down from the heavens, or not the heavens. He was just in Spear Pillar, but he shoots down from the sky, which is kind of cool. And then he just gets pissed at Groudon and Kyogre. And they stop fighting. They just kind of go home. All right, can't really argue with Rayquaza. It's like two kids on the 5th grade playground. Can't really argue with the teacher, right? Got to go back. So that's what they do. And then after that, again, before this, tear up the gym leaders, fight your rivals. That's pretty much it. Nothing crazy for a story. This one's going to be very gameplay oriented. The story, just something to the side. It doesn't really need a crazy story though. Black and White, I adore Black and White for their heavy story. But I understand some fans, for me, I adore Black and White. Black and White's so great. I'm sure there'll be a future video of Black and White one day. I can't guarantee it, but it's a possibility because Black and White's awesome. But yeah, very gameplay oriented. Yeah. The gyms aren't crazy hard, good starters. A lot of cool Pokemon to use with the story, You know what? I've got my Game Boy out right now, and I think I'm gonna show the audience what was my winning Elite Four team. Now, when I was playing through Emerald, I actually had a different buddy who was playing through Emerald at the same time, and he beat it before me, and he was saying, yeah, dude, the Elite Four was pretty hard. He acquired a Rayquaza, the level 70 Rayquaza with a Master Ball, and he was tearing up the entire Elite Four, probably really easily with the Rayquaza on his side. But I said, I've been training this team, I've been going on an adventure with this team this whole time. As Rocky once said, there's no easy way out. Did Rocky say that? Well, there's a song from the Rocky soundtrack called No Easy Way, or Easy Way, I think it's No Easy Way Out from the Rocky 4 soundtrack. God, I love Rocky. Go the distance. And everything in life, guys, you gotta go the distance, There's nothing, sometimes it's all I know, man. Just going the distance. you're kind of confused about what to do in life, what's next. Well, your answer is, man, just go the distance. Just give something your all. You'll feel better. Pokemon. So here's my team. So you've got, this guy, this Raichu here, this guy was my, he carried the team. You got Raichu, Aggron, Gardevoir, Altaria, Blaziken, Sharpedo, and that's it. Overall, I tried to build a team that covers a plethora of different types. Raichu carried. Raichu was relatively fast, and it got some good special attack. Stab, Thunderbolt, Stab, Thunder. Stab means same type attack bonus, which I'm pretty sure is times 1.5. Every move that you use that's the same type as the Pokemon using it, it's multiplied 1.5. Stab, same type attack bonus. Yeah, there's some good stuff to choose. They sprinkle in a few extra catch it. Or do they do that, or am I lying? I don't remember if they do that. I was lied to. For the longest time, I thought you could get a Houndour in Emerald's gameplay, and I was wrong. I really wanted to use Houndoom because Houndoom's kind of cool, and you can't really catch a Houndour till like really late in Gen 2, which I don't know why they would do that. They make a cool new fire type. Let's just use it, dude. That's a big problem with Gen 2, is some of the new Pokemon they make, you can't even use until like the post game. That doesn't make sense. Still good games though, not dissing. They're still fun. We're not dissing here. But yeah, I mean, I felt very lied to with Houndour not being a catch. Apparently that's in Platinum that you get your Houndoom, you can get a Houndoom in Platinum, not in Emerald. I mixed them up. I felt betrayed. So I just went with my classic Torchic and ran Blaziken. Last time I used Blaziken was back in the day with Alpha Sapphire when I was a youngster. Damn, that game is good. That's a great one. I got to replay that one soon. Especially after playing through Emerald, we can do a little bit of comparison. But remember something. Comparison is the thief of joy. If you compare too much, two things that are different, that are special in their own right, each one is you're gonna look past what's special about each thing because maybe you like one more than the other. No. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't do it. It's not good. I'm kind of rambling. I apologize. I have some small gripes with Emerald. The level curve, off the 8th gym, after everything's handled, 8th gym to Elite 4, that level curve is horrifying. I had to grind my team up for like 3 hours. I mean, that was an actual disaster. That was horrifying how much grinding I had to do before the Elite 4. The level curve is horrible. The Elite 4 in terms of difficulty, a little lopsided, you know. The first member, if you have a fighting type, sweep everything. Second member, a little difficult. You get some dark types, chomp, 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 chomp. Third member, similarly, you know, not super difficult also, just, you know, ice types. It's an ice type, so you get fighting, or you get steel, or you get fire, or ground. And you tear it up. And then the fourth Elite Four member, Drake, it's not the, you used to call me on my cell phone type of Drake. It's the, you know, Pokemon Drake. Like, he has dragons and whatnot. He does not look like Drake, guys. But he's really difficult. I had to teach Blizzard to my Aggron, and I was just praying to Jesus that I would land it, because Blizzard is a 70% accurate move, and then the opponent kept using Double Team, which was increasing their evasiveness. So the odds were stacked against me. But with hope and optimism by my side, we somehow persevered against Drake and the Elite Four, or the champion. The champion battle was the first, wait a minute. Wallace. I can't remember if Wallace is a girl or a guy, so I'm just going to say Wallace. I can't really remember. But the Elite, or the champion in Emerald is not Steven, which is interesting because Steven doesn't really do a lot in this game. He just kind of exists and just chills. He's cool though. Yeah, Steven was the champion in Ruby Sapphire, but in Emerald it's Wallace, who is pretty sure is a gym leader from Ruby Sapphire. They just made him They made Wallace the champion for some reason. Wallace has got a relatively easy team. There's a bunch of water Pokemon. Spam Thunder. Whoosh! And then he gets a Wish Cash, which Wish Cash was a difficult one to handle. I ended up just spamming Calm Mind with my Gardevoir and wiping it. And then the Milotic at the end was a bit over-leveled compared to my team. Not to compare, but I'm just saying, a bit over-leveled. My team was in like the low 50s, some in the high 40s actually, and Milotic was level 58. So a bit difficult. What we ended up doing is do some paralyzing and just spamming Thunder a bit. And that kept killing my Raichu. I had to keep reviving it. And then at one moment, we used Thunderbolt. It was too paralyzed to move. And also previously, we were also spamming Gardevoir Psychic on it. Its special defense got lowered. Just like that. My hands were sweating. My palms were shaking. We defeated the champion. We persevered because we never gave up on our hopes and our dreams. No, seriously though, got to go the distance and everything in life. But yeah, a bit of an inconsistent level curve. I think some parts get way too grindy, and some Pokemon are just kind of difficult to grind. Like, if you ever want to use a Gyarados, you got to do the switch training, and like my Swablu got like no good moves for a very long time. That was just really hard to level that thing up. That was just a pain. It was just a really bad pain, inconvenience, you know. I will say this. In terms of a ranking, guys, I'm sorry to admit this. I would put Emerald in A tier. I wouldn't put it in S. I think it's a great game, and please don't crucify me. I'm sorry to admit this. I would put Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. I would put those in S, and then I would put the original games in A. But you know what? They're different enough that it's still worth playing. You don't just look over it just to play Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. They're different enough. So I would say play them both. But I gotta be honest, those ones did a lot of really cool things. Oh, for some unknown reason, there's a few Pokemon from Ruby and Sapphire they just literally did not put in Emerald. Like Surskit, you just can't catch an Emerald, which is just so perplexing. I will never understand why. I mean, why couldn't we have Surskit? Oh, also, in Crystal, you just can't get a Mareep. I mean, what were they thinking? That was just not. I mean, Ampharos is a Generation 2 team staple. How could... I don't want to complain too much. I don't want to be a complainer. Still all great games, not to diss. But yeah, if there's only one Pokemon game you can ever play for the rest of your life, you have to pick one, I would say pick Black and White or Black and White 2, or Platinum, or Heart Gold Soul Silver, or Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Oh, even Emerald, yeah. Or Emerald, definitely. It's still great. I'm not dissing Emerald. Emerald's great. But in my opinion, I think it might be a tiny bit overhyped. Again, I'm really not trying to diss. Emerald's great, but I don't rank it as high as I would personally rank Black and White 2. If you're a fan of Emerald, I'm not here to, crap on your parade. I hope you like Emerald. It's fun. It's very fun. And I don't regret spending the pretty penny for it. But just be warned, not perfect. Very fun, but not perfect. Yeah, I'm going to split. I'm kind of wasting the audience's time and probably my own time sitting here rambling. I'm a busy bee these days. Uploads have not been as consistent. We're getting busy, but we're trying. Yeah, gotta split.